Okay, so last time we discussed high level. If you go to this roadmap video, like first one was TSA, part one that we covered. Second part was high level system design. Third is like low level system design. So what they gonna ask you here is given a problem, you need to code it in any of the language that you know, but you need to remember so many things that I gonna make a plan here. So it's low level system design. Again, it will take around 1 to 2 months, not much. Before jumping to this topic, you should be aware of a language. Maybe you choose a Java or C++ or Python, whatever the language you are comfortable with. But one language you need to have the command. Second, you should be aware of databases, like what are the schemas, how to write entities, right? Basic, like what are the foreign keys, primary keys, how relationship works, is relationship, has relationship. That is also needed here, because like you will start from very start. I mean, someone is let's suppose someone told you to write an online booking system, so then you should be aware of like basic entities. You should be able to write tables out of it and then design accordingly. uh, the third point that you should be aware of, like APIs, because most of this maybe people can write tell you to write REST APIs, get, put, post. So you should be aware of like basic syntax of that, how you call it, the body and those things. Fourth thing that is necessary is your design pattern, sorry. Design pattern is like once you started writing a module or maybe something, then how well you can write it, how well it can be modified. So there is something called a design patterns hole, like you can just get it source from anywhere, resources from everywhere, and learn about how design patterns. Then obviously basic things like entities, classes, interfaces, those things you should be aware of. These are now very basic thing. The problems they can ask you is, let's suppose, design or write an LRU cache. Example, write an LRU cache. So you should be able to write, you should be first be able to know the data structure behind it. So you must be aware of little bit data structures as well, that we actually covered in the first part. So if someone has given you design LRU cache, then you should be able to write the classes, the data structure involved in it, the methods, right? Maybe push or maybe get or maybe put, those kind of, maybe TTL, how you gonna manage TTL, how you gonna put data into the cache, what type of data you can be stored into the cache. So whole those classes, designing those classes. Suppose like today someone given you integer as a data, tomorrow they comes and tell you we gonna store strings. So that should be actually your logic should be like how you can manage that, how can you manage that change. So this is one of the examples. Second example, I told you like online booking system, something called, or system like IRCTC, where you manage sessions, right? I mean, suppose there's a Tatkal booking and on the 10 o'clock there is like so many people are logging at the same time, and you have limited sessions, right? Because people gonna log in, you will give them session. How well you can manage the session in the backend, and how you can code that particular thing. What if you want to log out all the people at like 10 or 5? Those kind of questions gonna come here. Second most important thing is your multi-threading topics. Why? Because whatever the designs you're gonna write it, there could be n number of threads that is executing the same piece of code at the same time. So you should be aware of like logs, semaphores. Then you should be aware of threading, like threading topics like wait and sleep, those kind of stuff. Then synchronization. So these are topics like critical section, how parallelly you can actually save that particular read write logic. Those kind of stuff you should be aware of. Suppose like in the online booking system, there should be like same case, like there are multiple threads that are accessing the same particular, maybe accessing a database transaction. So you should be aware of threading, multi-threading concept. This is your 6th pointer. 7th is basically once you are done with multi-threading, ER designs, and your design patterns also done. The kind of question they can also ask you apart from this is how I can remember. Online booking system is something like you need to write end to end, like classes, then database. I mean, how you gonna interact with database, APIs layer, those kind of stuff. LRU cache is a common like a data structure problem. People can ask you that as well. People generally ask like producer consumer as well. That is actually testing your threading or locking and all, whatever I told it here. Those kind of concept they tell you. Another thing can be like an Uber kind of application where you don't need to write whole Uber. It's a low level, so you need to maybe just write how you gonna make the booking, how you can make cabs available, those particular logic. So this kind of maybe e-commerce as well. So these kind of question they're gonna ask you in low level design. So apart from like high level design, how to code, machine coding is really actually related to low level as well. But machine coding, they will give you 1 hour and you need to type end to end something like given a problem. It could be like LRU cache, it could be like e-commerce. Given those functionalities, you need to do end to end. So yeah, these are the common topics that you should be aware of. Data structure you're gonna cover, database you're gonna cover, APIs, queues, because like it's not always mandatory that every communication gonna happen via API. Something gonna maybe happen with queues as well, right? So depends. You should be aware of cache or in memory storage, those kind of stuff. So I mean, this topic is not that lengthy. That's why I just put like 1 to 2 months. But yeah, this they're gonna definitely ask you. So yeah, prepare accordingly.